You already know ancient humans feared predators. That's the easy answer, the obvious one. But archaeologists have been digging up something far more unsettling, and it suggests the things ancient humans feared most weren't animals at all. They were afraid of the dark, not as a metaphor, as a physical, living enemy. They were afraid of strangers, not just other tribes, anyone with a face they didn't recognize. And they were afraid of the dead. Not death, the dead. And the evidence they left behind to protect themselves from all three of these things is genuinely one of the most disturbing things science has ever uncovered. Let's start with the one that surprises people most: the fear of strangers. Modern humans live in cities of millions. We pass thousands of unknown faces every day without thinking twice. But for the vast majority of human history, your entire world was a group of about 150 people. Everyone you'd ever met, everyone you'd ever seen. A face you didn't recognize wasn't just unusual. It was a threat signal so powerful it triggered the same neurological response as seeing a predator. Scientists studying vervet monkeys, our closest behavioral relatives, in many ways discovered they have three completely separate alarm calls. One for leopards, one for eagles, one for snakes. Each call triggers a different survival response in the whole group. The point isn't the monkey. The point is that our ancestors were running the same software. Threat recognition was automatic, ancient, and wired in before language even existed, which means every stranger your ancient ancestor ever saw looked to their nervous system exactly like a predator. Think about what that does to a species over hundreds of thousands of years. But here's where it gets genuinely strange. Because the thing ancient humans feared even more than strangers was the people they already knew after they died. In 2015, archaeologists excavating a site in Spain called Atapuerca found something that changed everything. Deep inside a cave shaft, they discovered the bones of at least 28 individuals all thrown in together. The bones showed cut marks, deliberate ones, made by stone tools. This was 430,000 years ago. The leading interpretation isn't mass murder. It's ritual, a deliberate, organized system for dealing with the dead, which means ancient humans weren't just burying their dead out of grief or hygiene. They were doing something to them, something intentional. And it wasn't always gentle. At multiple Neolithic sites across Europe, archaeologists have found human skulls separated from their bodies, decorated with carvings, and placed inside homes. Not in graves, in homes. The leading theory is that these skulls belonged to ancestors, kept close to protect the living. But there's another interpretation that nobody likes to say out loud. They were kept close because the living were afraid to leave them alone. Because the fear of the returning dead is not a modern invention. It is not a ghost story made up around a fire a few centuries ago. It is one of the oldest documented human behaviors on Earth. Archaeologists have found burial sites thousands of years old where the dead were buried with heavy stones placed directly on top of them, not to mark the grave, not as a monument, to hold them down. At a site in Poland dating to roughly 700 AD, researchers found 6 skeletons buried with sickles, curved iron blades placed across their necks and waists. The explicit purpose, according to the researchers, was to decapitate or cut the body in half if it tried to rise. This practice has been found on every continent, every culture, independently. People who never spoke to each other, never traded with each other, never knew each other existed, all arrived at the same terrifying conclusion. The dead might come back, and we need to stop them. But the deepest fear, the one that runs underneath all of this, isn't any specific thing. It's the dark itself. Ancient humans had fire, but fire only reaches so far. Beyond its edge, every night was complete and total blackness. And in that blackness, for hundreds of thousands of years, things actually did kill them. The human brain developed a response to this that still runs in you right now. Studies show that even modern humans in complete darkness experience elevated heart rate, heightened sensory awareness, and most tellingly, increased tendency to perceive faces in random patterns. Scientists call this pareidolia. Your brain, in the dark, starts manufacturing threats to prepare for them. Ancient humans weren't imagining monsters in the dark. Their brains were generating them automatically as a survival mechanism, which means every culture on Earth that independently invented demons, spirits, spirits, and creatures that hunt at night wasn't being superstitious. They were running the same ancient program, the one installed long before they had words for it. The dark was never empty to them, and in fairness, for most of human history, it wasn't. So the next time the lights go out and something feels wrong in the silence, that feeling didn't come from a horror movie. It came from something that kept your ancestors alive for 2 million years, and it's still running.